Hey all, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I am Darren, I'm your host, and today we have a special guest, Mrs. Tina Cannon of Tina Cannon Cooks, and also the winner of American Barbecue Showdown on Netflix. That's probably where you know her. I can't wait to talk to Tina about her career and how she got started. I'll be right back with Tina Cannon of Tina Cannon Cooks.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
Hey all, I want to introduce you to a company I just started working with, Fresh Jack's Organic Spices out of Jacksonville, Florida. They're a small, family-run company that's fast-growing. I've tried a bunch of their different seasoning blends and spices, and I can tell you they're all fresh, all organic. None of them contain artificial flavors or sweeteners. None of them have anti-caking agents or preservatives. They all taste like they were just made for you yesterday. Check them out, guys. They're on Amazon in the link below. They have different sample packs, different blends. Like I said, they also have the individual seasonings and spices as well. Fresh Jack's Organic Spices. Check them out, guys. I love them. Welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I am Darren, I'm your host, and today I've got a great guest I've been wanting to get on for a little while now. You all have probably seen her if you've watched the Netflix show, the American Barbecue Showdown. She is the winner. She is Ms. Tina Cannon, Chef Tina Cannon, because you are actually a chef. And
Yes.
she is here to join me today, and we're going to talk about all things that she is doing. Hello, Tina. Just tell us where you're from, who you are, and all that, and we'll get going.
Well, Tina Cannon, I'm from Noonan, Georgia, originally Gadsden, Alabama, but I live in Noonan, Georgia, and I'm a chef for Meals on Wheels of Coweta, a large charity.
Now, you started that. Did you start that after you won the show, or is that something you've been doing for a while, where you've been the chef for the Meals on Wheels?
Yeah, I've been there a while, but actually I started by donating to them all of my meat from barbecue contests. That's how I met them. And one day I got an email from them, and they said, "Hey, we need somebody to help us cook here." And I thought about it. I've been going there every weekend, donating meat. And I said, "Well, what about me?" In the email, I hadn't pushed send, and a minute later I had a phone call, and she said, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I would love to." So I've been there ever since.
Well, that sounds like you're giving back to the community, and also, being able to make a paycheck as well. And it feels like I'm sure that's one of those jobs that you get paid to do it, but you'd probably do it for free because you're helping a lot of people. So
yeah, well, it's not really pay per se. It's you have to sign off on the meals, so there is some pay involved, but it's not like if I was a chef in Atlanta or something.
No, definitely.
I'm not there for the money. If I
Exactly, it's not one of those jobs
not.
you're getting rich doing. That's for sure.
No,
so let's talk a little bit
to my community. That's the whole reasoning in that.
Yeah, before we get too far deep into what you have done and what you're doing, I wanted to talk about where you got started in cooking, because I've heard some of your other interviews, and from what I understand is that you were a teenager when you decided you wanted to make, culinary arts your career, and you ran away to Europe, I heard. How'd this all start?
Yeah, that was right after high school. It technically like Girl Scouts. I was interested, but the boys got to cook on the fire. So I had to volunteer to do dishes in order to help. And then, my dad burned everything on the grill, but I got my first Weber at like 10. So I really didn't realize that was the path I was going. I just knew I liked to do it. And I loved home ec class. And my mom will argue I never cooked, but about 5 things at home. But I had a teacher that would let me do whatever in the class. And it was kind of cool to be able to just cook in a big kitchen. We had a commercial kitchen in high school. So that's what sparked my interest. That I would have to say my home ec teacher. And I had her name was a counselor that encouraged me in the high school, because I loved it. And I never shared that with my parents. They didn't know I liked to cook really, but I used to cook with them in the kitchen. And my grandfather, he loved to cook. He raised 5 kids, country cooking, I used to
Hmm.
love to watch him in the kitchen. So I think all of that conglomerated, and I just decided to do it. And when I got there, it was, a rude awakening, a little girl, 18, that had never spent the night away from home other than her cousin's house or the girl across the street. I was kind of very sheltered. So it was, the early 80s when I went, and the punk rock scene was big, and the hostage crisis, during the Reagan era, the 444 days. It was a frightening time. I didn't realize it, of course, until I got to Europe, but there was a lot going on.
Now,
And
did you study
I
in
was
France,
scared.
or where did you
Yes.
study
Mhm.
in
I
France?
was in a school called La Varenne, which has been since ate up by Cordon Bleu.
Okay.
I think they were ate up like in probably the 80s or not. No, the 94, I think, is when Cordon Bleu kind of bought them out. Kind of an old school culinary school. Culinary school here in the U.S. is a little bit different, especially now. It was almost militant with inspections and things like that. So it was really
Uniform
different.
inspections and everything.
Yes, and your hands and your nails. Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Now, did you
Plus,
speak the
your
language,
cooking.
or did you have a
No, you
learning
could learn, you
curve?
could teach. They taught classes in other languages.
Okay.
I'm really good with accents because, you had French teachers that spoke English, or you had, German, a lot of German and Austrian teachers, but they spoke English. But you had to kind of change your schedule, based on, because you only spoke one language. European students often spoke 2 and 3 languages at least. So I was at a drawback in that. But I also went to culinary school in the U.S.
Now, how long were you in France before you came home and
3
studied?
years, 3
Wow.
years, and then I went again in the U.S. and that was also a 3-year program.
Now, when you were over there for 3 years, did you actually work too, or was it
Oh
strictly
yeah,
going to school? Yeah.
no, I did both. Like when they have a difference back then, school was a quarter system, and you would have breaks in between, and they would help you with getting jobs.
So you'd work
In
in
different restaurants.
restaurants and all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh
Okay.
yeah, oh yeah, and had some rough ones, that's for sure. But different types, in different countries. If it was a 2-week versus a month off or whatever. So I got to experience work in a lot of different countries and different cuisines.
Now, did it change your mind about wanting to cook, or did it actually make you more passionate about it? Because I know a lot of people, it can go either way. Once
Mhm.
they realize what it is to work in the restaurant business, it could turn them off, or it can make them more
Hmm.
passionate.
I think it gave me more drive because it was so rare for women at the time. Food Network wasn't around, any of that. I think it gave me more drive and determination to continue. And that's why I got told no when I got back to the U.S. They didn't hire women, or they wanted you to be a pantry chef, make salads,
Right.
or are you a baker? No, you know. So I went ahead and got an American degree, culinary degree, so they couldn't tell me no. And of course, I was an honor graduate there too. Um, it made me just more determined and almost like angry that I couldn't get hired. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you've heard on other interviews I had to work for free. I
Yeah.
mean, it took a while.
Yeah. I know a lot of people do that too. They do the stages so that they can actually
Mhm.
learn. And a lot of them do that to learn instead of going to culinary school. They'll
Yeah.
stage so they can learn certain techniques or certain
Mhm.
aspects of the kitchen as well. But
Yeah.
how different was studying in Europe than studying in the American culinary schools?
I think 100%. I think American Culinary School was, comparing them now, and I hate to say this, almost trade schooly. Not that anything's wrong with a trade school, but it was so different,
Hmm.
and it cost me more money too. More business, the business part of it,
Right.
versus actual technique.
Hmm.
That's just the way I saw it. But I learned from both. What I do
Yeah.
now, it's helpful because I need to know some of the the business part of it and managing, food for a large charity. And I cooked over 42,000 meals by myself last year alone.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So starting from there, so you found your passion, you went studied
Mhm.
culinary school. When you got out of culinary school, you said it was hard to find, work. Now, so where
Terribly
did you
hard.
end, how did you end up landing your jobs and staying in the profession?
I think sheer determination, working for free. They could see how dependable I was. I just, it didn't matter what shift. I mean, I think I had people throw at me just crappy jobs. I was a dishwasher at one place.
Hey, I
And,
did that. I did that when
yeah,
I was young. So
well, because they wouldn't hire, and I was a runner.
right.
We're just getting stuff out of the pantry, getting stuff out of the cooler. I think just the sheer determination and that one chef that really gave me a break. I was washing dishes and we had a no-show, and he put me on the line.
Nice.
I think it was a joke to him at first, and then he saw I hustle, and I stayed on the line after that. And it was a very,
Nice.
very fine dining French restaurant in Atlanta, in an area called Buckhead, which was very high end. So he's who gave me my first true shot. So if Jeff Barta is listening, thank you.
Well, we'll make sure he listens. We'll call him up, make sure he gets
I think
listens
he's
to
in
the whole
Colorado
podcast.
somewhere.
So, have you ever had a desire to start your own restaurant?
I did that. Been there, done that. I have
Okay.
a business partner in Tampa Bay, matter of fact, because you're
Not far from me.
Yeah, in Carrollwood, and I had a place there for a while. I think I was ahead of my time.
What was the name of the restaurant?
It was called Quick Cook, but it was a concept that's very popular now because everybody has food delivered. The meal prep kits.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but this was a long time ago. Before that was, you could deliver overnight and, Amazon, before all of that. And it was a pickup carry out type business of meal kits. And then since we were there prepping anyway, we did kind of a breakfast lunch service, and then we closed. We didn't serve dinner, but so it was way before its concept, but we did quite well. And then after, I don't know how long we did that, then finally dissolved that. And I took a little bit of time off to do something else for a while because I had chef burnout, which, happens, and you just go do something totally different,
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I did a show. I have people ask me now. I did a show on Travel Channel in 2014, and they listed me as a floral designer. As my job. And at the time I was doing floral work because I'm pretty talented in it. I have an aunt that's very skilled and does magazine covers and all of that. So I've always played with it. I like to do it. And it's so funny. I have people now say, that show you were on 2014 said you were a floral designer. That was during that period of time where I was burnt out and decided to do something totally different. I was doing work with the PGA and some other large organizations like that, the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. So, I exceeded in that immediately. That's the type of person I am. Whatever I do the best that I can.
You throw yourself into it. That's kind of like what I do. When I start something, even if it's a hobby like what I'm doing now, I just throw myself into it. I learn. People ask me, well, how'd you start doing this? How'd you put this together? And it's like, I just threw myself into it and learned it.
I just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, just did it. That's 99% of anything you want to do. You just start doing it, and you learn, and you make mistakes, and you learn from those mistakes, and then you go forward. So
that's why this interview like this is hard when you ask questions. It's like some questions I'm like, well, I just did it. It's not really an answer.
No, and that is an answer because, I have people all the time ask me, how did you start, the podcast? How did you start your YouTube channel? How did you just do it? You just got to say, I can learn something new. Don't be scared to learn something new, or ask people for help, or ask people to, that do it or have done it before you, how they've done it. That's one of the things I found when I first started doing things like this, is that there's a lot of people out there that will help you. And the ones that are really successful, they're not competitors of yours. They want to help. They'll teach people all the
Mm-hmm.
time. That sounds like what you like to do, because
Yes.
I've seen, I went through YouTube and I saw a lot of your old stuff. I mean, some of your, really old stuff. There's some really old videos with you doing some other things with the Bama cooks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah. And I,
the Bama,
I like to teach at the local culinary school, too. I like to give back, not only giving back to my community, but to show them how to do things. They're all wide eyed like I was at one time. And it's so encouraging to see them want to learn. I'm terrible, as you know, with technology. Uh, so I need to trade out some of those students to teach me technology if I teach them to cook or do certain processes.
Now, speaking of technology, there's been a lot on both the indoor and outdoor cooking areas in the last few years. A lot of technology being pushed into those, even for the home
Mm-hmm.
users, with the
Oh, yeah.
pellet grills and the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all the different types of cookers. The sous vide.
Yeah.
Anova's got the home-based combi steam oven that they're marketing. So how has that affected the way you cook? Have you changed it at all? I know I did see a video you using sous vide a couple days ago in one of your
Yeah, I was,
videos.
yeah, a duck. That's something that it's been around a lot longer than people realize. I think they say it was founded in the early 70 or 71. But technically, if you look at like when Bird's Eye and the vegetable company started doing frozen products or canning ready to eat food, the process was the same,
Yeah,
of cook, under pressure, and liquid. So it's been around a while, but as far as like chefs or the way we do it, it was probably in the 70s. And now that was just commercial back then. And
right.
now, I mean, you can go and buy one. Well, I don't know if the big box Walmart store sells it, but I mean, you
Oh
can
yeah,
get
they
that.
do.
Do they?
You
Okay.
could get them at Walgreens, actually, and Aldi.
Oh, really?
So for
Oh my
50,
God.
60
Well,
bucks, anybody can walk into just about any store now and buy a sous vide circulator.
yeah.
It's just,
Was it,
that's how they are.
it makes things like easy. And I think if home cooks will not be afraid of it, how a lot of people, matter of fact, I have a friend on Facebook, Jimmy Driver. Hey, if you're listening, he wrote me because he sees me use my Instapot, which I love.
Mhm.
So he went and got him an Instapot. So now he's asking me about sous vide. It once you're not afraid, a lot of people are afraid of like a
Right.
pressure cooker. You old school, like my mom, terrified. She won't do it. But once you try it, it
Yeah.
makes it so easy if you're not a really good, especially a meat cook. People have a hard time with getting the doneness, when you got to, your husband eats it rare and you eat it medium and your son eats it this way. So your jumping off point there, it's perfect. You're just basically searing it. And it makes everything much tenderer and you can infuse flavor in it. I mean, it's something that I think in another 5 years, it'd be like as normal as a blender.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you're right, because when I first started looking at sous vide, this was 3 or 4 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I looked at it and go, wow, this is so similar to low and slow barbecue, because it's low and slow. It's just
Exactly.
lower and slower, and
That's
then
so lower.
and you're using a water bath. But it's the same thing. You're breaking down collagen, on those tougher meats. You can take them
Mm-hmm.
out to stupid times like 48 to 72 hours and turn them into something that you can't make any other way.
The
So
new crock pot.
yeah, it's just, well, but it's so much, I love people who they get excited about one part of it, but then they start expanding into different things like,
Yeah.
infusions and things like that it can do. I'm part of the International Sous Vide Association, and that's one of the things I love, is teaching people how you can get excited about one part of it that gets you going, and then there's so much more that they can do. It'll open up a door. It's just like anything. It's just like cooking. You can get, oh, I make a great hamburger, but now I want to make a great, grilled cheese sandwich. And you just
Mm-hmm.
expand on that. Now you want to learn how to make something. You want to make chicken. Now, how do I make chicken? I mean, it's just things start rolling, and you can see how the doors kind of open up for you. So you kind
In
of, go ahead.
2000, I don't remember, it was a Sonny's contest they had down in Florida. Sonny's had a big giant barbecue contest. And they had a mystery meat, and Cargill Meat sponsored it. And we were given boneless, skinless turkey breast. And I won. And guess what? I used sous vide to make it.
Really?
Yeah. And that was,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know, 2016 probably. I'd have to Google it to see when I won it. But in that amount, it was kind of not as common, there. And I actually used a sous vide that another team from Florida, I'll think of his name while we talk, loaned it to me. And I used it there on site and won.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So let me talk to you about that now. You're talking about cooking competitions. So you started out culinary school, you worked in the restaurants. What got you involved in cooking in competitions?
Barbecue competition, watching pit masters on TV.
Yeah, it got
Yeah.
you excited.
Yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, because I had got a smoker, a Brinkman, matter of fact, from points on a credit card, and I cooked for a bunch of people at my house, and every podcast has heard this story. And the guy that showed up, there was a crew working at my house. I'll shorten it some, and he showed up to get his money, and I was feeding the crew. And he wanted, now of course, I'm a Southerner. Sit on down, and eat with us. And he looked at my husband and told him what good barbecue it was. Well, I had cooked it. So, we talked. He told my husband a couple more times as he got another plate. And he went to his truck and brought an application. Filled out the application for a contest in Lake Martin, Alabama. And I went and won.
Nice.
Right out the gate.
Now, how different was that from what you had experienced before? Because, you had a benefit, I think, because you had all the culinary training and know how to put flavors and stuff together. So how different was it? Yeah. How different was it in the competition? Because you're cooking for judges, and I know it's totally different than cooking for your home.
Yeah,
and
totally.
restaurant.
And what I cook for barbecue, like here, like if you were coming over to hang out at the pool or whatever, is so much simpler than for a contest, because they inject contest, phosphates, this, that, MSG. Matter of fact, we did a practice cook this weekend of all 4 meats. And my husband and I looked at each other and I thought, because we haven't competed, because of COVID in a year. And we hated everything. And, this is the same recipes that we, placed and won with. We hated everything. I said, my tongue is still tingling from all the MSG, and the texture of the meat is like gone because it's all the phosphates in it, so it tastes like the texture was like deli meat. It was just so different. Everybody cooks for the judges, and they know what, they've shigged, and they know what, or they went to barbecue schools, which everybody has, and they're using the same thing across the board. And I don't, are you a barbecue judge too?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I never have, but I've talked to plenty of
I don't even
competitors, and I've talked to, Malcolm Reed and a lot of guys local here that compete, and they all say the same thing. They never cook at home what they cook for a judge, because you're going for the one bite. Nobody can eat Johnny Triggs ribs at home. I mean, you don't want to make those ribs at home, because you don't want to take parquet and honey and agave and 5 or 6 different sauces and
brown sugar and 4 rubs and and so, that's just foolish. And I was telling him, look at all this stuff on the counter, because I just built a filming kitchen to do my videos out, not in the main house. The stuff is just everywhere. I'm like, all of this whole stack here is just ribs. Why? It's just, I'm hoping that the judges' taste, and a lot of people, it's changed who's coming and who's not coming as far as judging, that maybe kind of going back to simpler. I don't know. I'm going to do another practice cook this weekend. Cook another Wagyu brisket.
Now, have you ever done any of the state cook-offs, the SCA?
I think I've, in the past, it's been several years ago, I think I did 2.
Those seem to be growing.
How wonderful. Show up with a spatula and some seasoning, versus a rig and all this, and $300 to enter, and then $500, $600 worth of meat and all that. Wow. I'm considering maybe doing a little more of that.
Well, and I've talked to a lot of competitors like Malcolm Reed and stuff, and they love them
Mhm.
because they say they're more like what barbecue competitions used to be like.
Used to be. I
Yeah.
remember just since I started in the end of 2009, first part of 2010, how the competition started. And I don't know if they changed or I changed. I'm not sure, because I never saw it to be clicky, and now it is. I see myself following suit with the seasonings and all the stuff. So I don't know if I've just kind of changed or
Well,
it
and
changed. I don't
I
know.
think it's just, it's a natural progression because now I see the SCA events starting to go the same way of you got to have the grill marks, you got to have it round. And it's like, I look at some of the stuff that they put out and it's like, I would never, if I go to a steakhouse and I ordered, and that came to I would throw it
Yeah.
out and say, that's not what I ordered because
No,
a ribeye is
it's
not
like
supposed to be round. It's not supposed
tied.
to
Yeah.
be,
It's not,
and it's not, I don't care if it's got perfect grill marks. I want it to taste good. And it
yeah.
seems like they do a lot more for appearance, and because I guess there's only a certain amount of thing you can do. If it's a steak, it's a steak. You got to cook it
Mhm.
perfect, make sure, it's seasoned right, and it's got to look good. So they put a big emphasis more on appearance than they would anything else. But I think it's
Yeah.
just like anything. It's a natural progression and it gets more and more. And you got to try to do something different. But when you got limited things you can do, they
Yeah.
all start to look the same, And then what do you do?
Little
Everything,
round hockey pucks with
if
perfect diamonds
they
in
all
them.
look the same and they all taste the same, you just kind of close your eyes and go eeny meeny miny mo at the end if you're a
Mhm.
judge. So
I still think I might just because of lack of barbecue contests, I might get out there and do a few. Why not?
yeah.
I
Now,
miss I miss seeing people.
yeah. And now is that your main reason for doing the competitions, is to, the more community function of it, or is it to win? Or I mean,
No.
because it's not cooking good barbecue, you kind of admitted
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Um I like to compete. I'm a
Yeah.
competitive person by nature. So I mean, I do miss, like at this point, since we haven't been to a contest in so long, I miss people, of course, but no, it's the competition. It kind of gets your bubbling, your
Yeah.
blood bubbling and stuff. Especially if you get a call or get a great call in a category or something. It really it energizes you to
Yeah.
want to go do another one and do better next time.
Now, have you done any other type of competitions? Like maybe, I know you did like a world food
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
challenge. Did
I did FBA, GBA, ABA, KCBS, IBCA.
so you've
So,
done a bunch. So that
yeah, and
means you
they're all
spent
a
a
little
lot of
bit
money.
different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big truck, big rig, yeah, big smoker,
Now,
all big stuff.
is that what you're most passionate about now, is barbecue, or are you still passionate about all types of cooking?
All types of cooking. All
It's
types.
just
My
barbecue is the more
competitive nature.
competitive.
It's the competitive end. The rest I just love to just cook, like, let's cook Greek food today.
So you do have your own. I'm going to share the screen because I want to go over your website here so people can know they can find you online under your website is Tina Cannon
Oh
Cooks,
yeah, yeah, that's me.
and you are doing a subscription or membership type
Mm-hmm.
um, program on here where are you doing like cooking classes and all that?
Yeah, a lot of every month we release some more recipes and tips. But there's things if you, I think somewhere on that site you go at the bottom where it says there's other recipes on there. There's some
Right.
that that you
Recipes and
don't have to subscribe to.
gotcha.
Yeah, and
And
you
mouse
get
is
on.
not
Oh, I
working.
hadn't looked at my site in a while. There's all my affiliates.
Now it's moving.
It's back.
All right.
There's my Cody on there. I see it.
So you also got your Facebook page, so they can
Yeah.
find you on Facebook, and
Oh yeah.
everything is under Tina Cannon Cooks, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I'm getting old. It's easy to remember that way.
Yeah.
Instagram and TikTok, that's on there that way too. Tina Cannon Cooks.
And now you started a YouTube channel. Now, how long ago? It looks like 5 months ago you started that.
I started it actually longer than that, but I really didn't know how to work it, and I'm still learning. I have people write me almost every day and ask me to do videos on certain things, but trying to keep them short or how to
Yeah.
edit because I don't know how to edit.
You'll learn.
Everything you see on there is unedited. It's one take Tina on there. So
Well,
y'all don't
here's a
write me
tip.
nasty emails.
Here's a tip. Looks like you're using your phone to do most of them, correct?
Yeah.
So just turn your phone sideways so it'll make it widescreen.
Uh-huh.
So that way they'll see the whole screen. Like you got one on there, the barbecue care package one. You see how that's widescreen, and the other ones are. So if you turn your phone sideways, it'll make it so it's a widescreen. So it's just when I first started YouTube, I was just like you. I didn't know how to do anything or edit and putting stuff together, but
I don't know how to edit.
People are really nice, and usually they're kind of nasty and mean. They'll tell you stuff in the comments.
Oh yeah,
like you need better audio, or you need this, or you need that. They're not very nice. But you that's one of the things you learn is to ignore what the people are saying.
Yeah.
But some of it you can take to heart and just say, but yeah.
Well, it's good to know because I noticed some of them are that way. There's my dog. Yeah.
So, and all these different platforms are, they're fun to play around with. And one of the things I learned, and I like when I talk to other people, they have the same thing, is there's different people will go to different platforms. So it's always good to have a little bit on every one of them. Just, I can see here, you've got a big following on Instagram. You don't have a big following on YouTube, and your Facebook page isn't that big. But what I've noticed in my personal stuff that I do is that there's a lot of people that will be in my Facebook group. Some of those people will be on my page on Facebook. Some of them may be on YouTube. So it's like, I'll have like 14,000 people here, 400 here, 300 here. So they're not all going to all your different platforms. So some of them just stay where, some of them will stay on Instagram and they'll like you on there, but they won't go to your Facebook page or your YouTube channel. So you just got to kind of put something a little bit of on everywhere so people can find you and no matter what. But you're not going to ever bring all your Facebook people to YouTube or Instagram to YouTube or Facebook. So it's always interesting to expand out a little bit. And they're all learning curves.
Like on TikTok, it's if you watch the videos, they're very different about what people like in content. So
everybody has their own personal preference of what platform they want to watch you or react to you on. So
I didn't even know about TikTok or Instagram not too long ago. So
well, you've got a pretty good following on Instagram so far, so that's good. But that's just that's one of the things I've always found is that you'll go to one platform and you'll have hardly anybody, and then the other one you've got all these other people, but you can't pull those other people into the other one.
I don't know. And I started like a group on Facebook. So instead of just Tina Cannon, I didn't know what to name it, but it's called Tina Cannon Cooks Community. So that's like a group, and we're just like to share recipes because a lot of people like to send me pictures of my recipes that they cooked.
That's how I started. I actually started a Facebook group, and it grew so fast that I decided to expand out into other things. So my Facebook group has over 14,000 members now, but like my YouTube channel, I only have 6,000 subscribers. So you would think that I would get 10,000 or 14,000 people on YouTube, but nope, it's just doesn't work that way. But
then I've learned that you can't do a video more than like 3 minutes or something. Attention span now is really short.
Yeah, that's usually with YouTube. It's like 8 to 12 minutes.
I can't even say hello. I'm Southern in 3 minutes. So oh well. I'm working on it. I'm trying to do better, and I do appreciate some of the persnickety messages I get.
Well, and that's where when you learn how to edit, that's when things start to get a little bit easier for you. I mean, I spent a lot of time learning how to edit and all that kind of stuff too. So
I've got like 3 apps that's supposed to say it's easy to edit, and I don't know how to cut things out because I get wordy. It has like a little line where you can like blend them together, but it's like, how do I get this out? Or I went on a tangent about something.
You know what? The best place to do that is YouTube. Because YouTube's good for learning how to do stuff.
I guess I need to get on YouTube and look at some editing. People show me how to edit.
Hey, I want to take a second and talk about Inkbird's brand new instant read thermometer, the IHT1S. This thing has a lot of great high-end features at a very affordable price. It is 100% waterproof with an IP67 rating, 2 to 3 second ultra-fast response time, backlit, fully rechargeable, no batteries to replace. This thing has got all the high-end features that you would want in an instant read thermometer. Very durable. So check it out, guys. Check out the Inkbird IHT1S instant read thermometer. I think you're going to love it. It'll be your go-to instant read from now on. And now back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. All right, so let's get into the big competition that you got into. And this is, I know you've been on TV before because I saw some of your other stuff that you'd been on, some other shows here and there, but the big one that everybody knows you for, I'm sure, is the American Barbecue Showdown on Netflix.
Yeah.
And that one probably puts your name out there. So now you're almost a household name because people, I know in the barbecue Facebook groups that I'm in, I mean, everybody was talking about that. Especially, I know a lot of people in Georgia because there was so much Georgia representation.
Oh,
in
yeah. That's because in Georgia, I hate to tell you that, we know how to cook some Q here.
So I think at least three of the competitors were from Georgia. So
yeah.
How did that all happen? How did you get in touch with them, or how did they get in touch with you, or did they, see some stuff that you did online and then they contacted you? Or
I'm still not sure why they contacted me. It was on Facebook. I got a message and I thought, what? I don't know who these people are, and I didn't answer. And I don't know, a week or two later again, I got the message and I didn't know what, I swear when I went, and people think I lie, I had no idea what Netflix was even when I went. And I'm actually glad that I didn't find out till I got home from the show, because I might have kind of freaked out a little more than I did, because I didn't know, because I didn't know what streaming service is, and I still don't really get it. But
now, did you think it was like just a local show or something like that, or?
Well, I didn't really know. I thought it was just, I didn't know. I really had no idea until I showed up there, and I got out of they put us in this black Mercedes van. And when I got out and saw how many people and the crew and all the special equipment, I knew that, okay, this is, I'd already been on 2 other networks and it was nothing like that. I mean, it was something. I mean, really. And the people were so professional, on the crew and everything. I knew it was different, but I had no idea because we were not supposed to be really in contact with people and talking about it. I'm a rule follower, so I didn't. So I didn't find out till I actually got back. Of course, my mom and my sister, and my husband knew. Somebody had to know why I was gone. And my sister was like, "I can't believe you're going to be on Netflix," and I couldn't tell them that I had won.
Right.
They're trying to get at me, and I'm like, I didn't say anything because, you got this big contract, I was like,
Sure.
They're going to take my house, I don't know. I didn't know. It's like a mean.
You're locked in your basement.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Before COVID anyway. So I didn't know, but I didn't know until my sister actually told me, this is worldwide. And she was showing me online. I'm like, holy cow, because I didn't know, I honestly didn't know what a subscription service. And now that every other commercial is Google Plus, and stuff, now I know that it's bigger than like regular networks. I'm from old school. I don't get the concept of just watching a home fix it show at 3:00 in the morning, whenever you want to.
Right.
I have to have a schedule. I'm scheduled. Okay.
TV guide.
Yes.
It's a TV guide. Yes. It had 5 channels and a TV guide.
Yeah. I'm used to that way. So it's really hard for me to think about watching something and like right now when you and I finish, I want to watch blah, blah, blah. I don't even think that way because I'm so scheduled.
Right.
It's my nature. I got to know.
So when they signed you up and you agreed to do this, did they just All right. Well, you just come and show up this day and you're be ready to cook.
Well, they told me that what day they came and picked me up and, took all my bags and stuff because they told me to bring a bunch of clothes. And the biggest question is, why do we wear the same clothes every day? That is the number one question. And they had me bring like 30 outfits, shoes and everything. I packed up all, and I hate packing.
Yeah.
I like to carry a carry-on when I go somewhere and take as little as possible. So that was difficult for me to pack up all these outfits and then get there, not wear any of them. I was either in that red t-shirt that was all ugly and baggy shorts, or my pajamas when I was in the hotel room. I mean, that was pretty much all I ever wore. So it was overwhelming when I got there, and there's drones and a couple hundred cars parked out in this field by this beautiful barn. So I think I was like really overwhelmed, and I still didn't know, why is it such a big, who are these people?
So when you got started, did you all of a sudden kick into competitive mode? I mean, did all the butterflies go away, and you just said, all right, it's a competition. I'm going to do it.
Think about it. Yeah. And, I had never cooked on any of those type of grills. I compete on a gravity fed, so I'd never cooked on any of them. I had a different type of ceramic grill at the time. Luckily now I'm a green egg ambassador, so I have a green egg, but I had never had cooked on one before. So evidently I did pretty good. I winged it. That's my style of cooking. Wing it. Just wing it. I don't cook my recipe.
You won it by winging it. So, I mean, I think some of the best cooks cook that way. I know that's the way I always cook. I can look at a recipe and get an idea from it, but I don't follow a recipe.
Never.
If I'm baking, I do, because, when baking bread and something, you got to kind of do that for chemical reasons. But yeah, I don't hardly ever either. But for cooking a recipe, I'll look at it to get an idea, but then I add my own here and there. A good cook will know how to put the flavors together, and especially because it's all personal taste anyway. So
and I cook a lot by aroma.
Right.
I smell like everything. It's like there's an old joke when you go to culinary school. You go up to your chef and you check in for your inspection. Do you like to get up early? No. Chef. Next line. Do you like to get up early? Yes, I'm an early riser. Baker. Chef. Baking is not my thing. I'll eat it if you cook it for me, though. You bake me a cake, I'm going to eat it. But I ain't baking. I'll make a biscuit. I make very basic baking. I can get by. I mean, I do cook for a lot of people. I can get by, but it's not my thing because I don't like that measurements and weighing. Oh, yeah. I don't like that.
Got to be too exact with baking. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't like. I like to. You
can't wing it. You can't wing it. You can't wing it too much. So when you first got started, did you look at it and go? You looked around at whoever else your competitors were and go, "I can win this thing right away."
No, not at all. Especially once I saw the equipment, I thought, it was like that guy in that.
What have I got myself into?
Exactly. Home Alone. That was exactly what went through my mind. Oh my gosh. And I've committed to being here until whenever they tell me I could go home. They didn't tell you like if you won, you stayed, or if you lost, you left. I mean, I didn't know, can't believe I did that because I'm such a structured person. Yeah. I still can't believe that I said yes to that. you could be gone a month. Okay. But no, I was not prepared at all for any of that. I literally, I swear, just winged it. I don't think when a couple of people asked me for recipes and I put it on my site, like I put the cobbler, because I know that was a family recipe. I had to really think or go.
What did I use there? Yeah.
What did I? Yeah, exactly. Because I just don't cook that way. So it's very difficult to repeat something. Right. I don't think I've cooked the same spaghetti sauce. I did a YouTube video and I had to cook it and write it down, like roughly how much I put in there so I could reproduce it for people. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people ask for that. I don't know.
Yeah, when I first started doing my videos, I don't cook that way. I don't cook by
Yeah.
recipes. I don't write stuff down. I just kind of in my brain, I know what works well and I throw it all together and I know I taste it and go, well, I need a little bit more of this and that. And I
Yep.
just don't write stuff down. And I'll do that.
You
I'll
wing
make
it.
chili. Yeah, and I'll make it
You
totally
wing it.
different next time,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
so yeah. I mean, so when you started, you got through the first couple rounds and all that, did you
Mhm.
look around and go, okay, this is the person I got to look out for, or this one's
Mhm.
going down
Mhm.
soon? And did you start in your own mind thinking that way, or were you just concentrating on what you were doing?
Gosh, I think I was concentrating on what I was doing, but I think in the back of my head, I knew Sylvie for sure because she's very competitive, and I know her from competing at World Food against her, and we're talk online, and Rashid, I knew for sure because I think sometimes when you're on a TV show, they might portray you as more novice than you are.
Yeah.
Uh, so none of us were novices at all.
No, I know people who knew Rashid or before, and they said he's
Mhm.
not a novice.
No,
Some of the
no,
stuff that he was like going, oh, I don't know. They go, yeah, he knows because he's
yeah,
cooked that several times. So
yeah, like tri-tip. I was like,
yeah,
what? You know,
when
uh,
he said he didn't know what a tri-tip was, the guy, well, he works at like an Atlanta grill company. He's done like catering events and stuff for
mhm,
them, and they knew that he
mhm,
he's cooked tri-tip for us several times. He knows what he's
yeah.
talking about.
But
So
his flavors, I mean, you know, were fantastic and spot on. They really were. I loved his style of cooking and his persona on the show.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
he
and
he definitely did a
his
good job. So I mean,
yeah,
so.
his jerk sauce, oh, delicious. Loved it.
Cooks
Could
like
drink it.
him and you seem to do the best in these type of shows because you're used to winging it and throwing stuff together
Mm-hmm.
out of whatever you have available in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
The people that do better on like Chopped and stuff like that are the people that can think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why you and him ended up in the final round, is because you were both that way. You're not
Well, thank
you,
you.
you're just you work with what's in front of you, and you've done it before. You've done it for so many years that
Mm-hmm.
you already know what works well together, and you can put stuff together with whatever you got.
Yeah, we
And
had a nice pantry. It did change. It wasn't
yeah,
always the same. So if you thought you were going to have brie cheese today, and you had it tomorrow, and you better not mention it because you're mic'd up, and all your producers, your handlers and stuff. I don't know for a fact, but it was kind of interesting if I mentioned, oh, if I get to cook this or something, suddenly it
they
wouldn't
take it
be
away from
there.
you. They
Just
do it on
saying.
purpose. Just to,
I don't know, just saying. So, it just maybe it was just a coincidence.
so when did you feel during the competition that it was going to be you and Rashid, or did you think it was going to be you and him at the end? When did you know? Like just when you last won, or I mean, were you shocked at all any of the rounds that you won?
Um, I was shocked every time. People ask me, was that like a act? I was shocked every time. I mean, I knew my stuff was good, but I knew his stuff was good, and I know Miss Sylvie's stuff is good. I really thought that us three, honestly, just because we tasted each other's food, and I know there's, I could just tell they really, out of everybody, in my opinion, knew what they're doing out of everybody. I think Grubbs, I loved him. His personality, loved him, and we still are in contact. Um, I think they were tough on him. But I thought his sausages were good, but like some of his sides, he lacked a little bit. And I think they were looking for the full circle on everything. I don't think you could bomb on one thing and then one thing be good. We had to cook multiple dishes every time.
Now, let me ask you this question, and I'm sure it doesn't get asked often, but Because sometimes as somebody who watches shows like this, you go, how much does personality play into what the judges think? Even with Melissa, you can tell sometimes if somebody didn't say the right thing that she wanted them to say about something, she would get a
Mm-hmm.
little ticked off. You could tell that I didn't like that, but she'd ask somebody a question about, what are you going to do with this? And they'd answer, and she'd turn around, and she'd make a, nasty face or go, I don't like that. So how much do you think personality or, that played into their decision?
When I watched other shows like this, I thought that was a factor. But being there and knowing that the three people that I thought was the best cooks made it to the finals, it kind of made me dissipate thinking that, because Rasheed definitely and Sylvie definitely deserved to be there, I think. Um, out of the three of us. So I used to think that, though. I mean, maybe some shows are written that way. I didn't
And it might be
feel
part of
that
the
while
whole,
I was there living it. I
it
didn't
might be
feel
part
that
of
it
the
was that.
drama that they try to inject into it, because I know
Yeah.
just from watching Melissa mostly is, because she's one of the best, she's
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
competitor. She's been a judge. She's, she was
Hmm.
part of the, barbecue community for many, many years. So,
Right.
and it just made out some of the competitors, she would just, shake her head walking away from them. And you're like, oh man, she's already
Yeah.
made up her mind before she's got the food in
Yeah.
front of her, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I think she's just a no nonsense person. And honestly, that could have been editing. They got to make it interesting, because there
Right.
was a lot. There was one challenge that was totally cut out. There was a lot of editing. It was, when I watched it, it was very different than what I thought we would see. And I don't know if that was because of COVID. There was editing during COVID, or, I don't know their demographic of their audience, because like I said, I didn't know what Netflix was. I don't know how there was a
Right.
lot that they cut out, a lot that I thought, if they'd left it in, was really good TV. I mean, not even just stuff that happened that I'm like, why'd they cut that out? Or why'd they put that? There was so much other really good crap that could have been put in there that they didn't, but who knows? Like I said, I didn't know
Okay,
the
give me an
demographic.
example. What did you do? Did you like trip over your foot and drop something, or what happened?
Rasheed tripped,
Oh yeah.
like in the first challenge, like majorly. Um, I spilled something on me in my area, and it looked like I'd run on myself. Just crazy, other,
Yeah.
just silly stuff, because the monotony of it, things that
Yeah. I
happen,
mean,
they
you're
cut
you're
all that out.
you're doing a lot. You're excited. You're, all
Hmm.
things going through your mind, and
Yeah, they made me
you're
like really
unfamiliar with all
sit.
this stuff. And yeah, and I
Yeah.
can tell there should be things going on.
Oh, that
People falling
constantly.
over each other and
Yeah.
dropping stuff all day
Yeah.
long. They're
Yeah.
just
Running,
crazy.
fires going out.
Yeah.
Everybody had problems with one of the particular smokers. I won't get into which one. Um, and then we didn't use it again, which I thought odd. We ran out of wood. Like, God loved Rasheed, but he burnt so much wood in the barrel. He went through so much wood because he had a ring there, and he just kept fire burning because he made his own coals. And then after, it appeared to me that after Georgia saw it, she started doing it. So we went through so much wood, they had to have more wood delivered. And we were in a rural area, you know.
Yeah.
And we're running out of charcoal. So I think we went through a lot more stuff than they realized. And it might have been, because some of us didn't have, at least me, knowledge of one of the particular type of smokers, the Lang, which I loved. I wish I had one now. I just kept charcoal burning because I thought, I didn't want it to go out on me, because I
Right.
saw it went out on Georgia. I thought, heck, I don't want that to happen to me. I had wasn't necessarily shigging what people were like cooking with, because I kind of had a plan when they told us what to do, but I was kind of watching and learning, and I learned, I can say, from everyone there, something I brought home with me, which is kind of cool, knowledge of cooking, making me a better cook or a better barbecue cook.
Awesome. So what's next for Tina Cannon Cooks? Are you going to write a book? Are you going to continue doing what you're doing with your website and YouTube, expand that out and
Yeah.
keep working for
Well,
the,
I'm looking at my website, like, the guy that kind of built the site for me. I guess a lot of people don't buy cookbooks a lot anymore. So having it on the site, a subscription service, to me kind of reminds me of like a digital cookbook. So I'm
Mhm.
just putting recipes on there. They should be loading some more on the free part, where you don't have to subscribe, shortly. And we just filmed 18 new videos. They're going to release, a few soon, like 3 or 4 soon, and then they'll do 3 or 4 more. And we're scheduling them to come back and film again in late April, and we'll
Mm.
film a bunch more. So I think I'm just going to continue with that. Lordy mercy, it keeps me busy. I
Yeah.
have interviewed for another show and made final round, but I don't know yet what's happened on that. Can't say which one, what network, anything, but I have
Yeah.
interviewed and I know I made final round. That's all I know. So I'm hoping to find out soon. If I do get chosen, I'll be gone for a couple weeks. Y'all probably noticed from my social media, she got it, maybe. So we'll see. Hope I don't get in trouble for saying that.
Now, have you looked at other people that do similar things to you, like Susie Bullock and Hey Girl Hey, and some of the others where they have like a subscription service and then they have the free content? Yeah, I've had her on a couple times on my show,
I
and
love to watch her.
yeah, and she's really good, and
She's precious.
she her husband helps her do that, and they do a lot of similar stuff where they have a subscription side and then they have a free side, and then they actually have people helping them doing their YouTube and their Instagram. And that's why I told her a couple times, I wish I had, a couple, teenagers working for me doing the stuff.
I know.
It would help it out. But,
Now
once
I
you
wish
get
I
big
had
enough, I
children.
guess. Yeah, there you go.
Then I would have somebody help. But I like it because I'm learning something. And I appreciate people write me, even like I say, the snarky messages, because it makes me learn more. And
Sure.
I'm just gonna just keep doing that. I don't think I make enough money to hire and have people. I don't,
Right.
and I don't know, even though I have people write me literally every day and say sweet stuff and want to know recipes or want to interview me, and I appreciate all that, but I don't want to be one of those people that have to have people.
Right.
It's
You
not
don't want an
me.
entourage.
If you want to come hang out at the pool and let's cook, that's fine. But no, I don't think that's my personality.
Yeah.
I'm just Tina Cannon. That's it. I'm a
Who can
dog
cook.
mom and I like to cook. That's, but it's been like a great experience, when I sit back and like, look, gosh, I've been on 3 major TV shows. I don't, it's like I'm looking or thinking about somebody else.
Right.
I know that sounds silly, but I just never thought of me that way. I just living my life and cooking and doing good for others and,
Having fun.
competing in barbecue and, being a good dog mom.
Well, that's great. Well, I want to thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to following you and watching.
You didn't ask me anything hard.
Oh, I never asked anything
I
hard.
thought you were gonna like dig in there.
No. I just, cause you never know what some people will think is hard and some don't. I'm always pretty easy. I just like to, I like to dig into where you started and how your mind works. And your mind works similar to mine. You like to teach,
Okay.
you like to cook, you like to eat. I mean, that's what else is there, right? Enjoy
and
life.
I like to share. It's what? It's the only. I don't have a lot of talent, but I think I'm a good cook. Whether it's higher end or just we're making spaghetti sauce at the house, so that's the only thing that I can do. It's the only talent I have. So that's what I want to share. Otherwise, I'm just here at my house and that's it.
Well, you're not doing it to make to be rich either. So you're doing it because you
No,
enjoy it. You
I
enjoy
love it.
You enjoy it. So that's exactly what I do. I do it because I enjoy it. But I really appreciate you being on.
Well, thank you.
I hope to have you on again, and we'll talk about maybe some other show that you have been on and all that. But hopefully your website and everything grows. And I really appreciate you being on.
I appreciate it too. Yes. And yeah, if people go to my YouTube, y'all, and you can write me at tina@tinacanningcooks.com. If you want to see some videos or something in particular, just send me a message and let me know. I'll do it.
And I'll put the links in the description of the
Thanks.
podcast below.
As long
so
as
they
it's
can.
not tuna fish. I hate tuna.
Well, there's ways you can make tuna taste good. I know you
I
can.
hate it.
Well, thanks again. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next Fire and Water Cooking podcast. Well, thanks again for joining us on the Fire and Water Cooking podcast. I want to thank Mrs. Tina Cannon one more time at Tina Cannon Cooks. Check out the links below where you can find all things Tina Cannon. Make sure you check out the Fire and Water Cooking YouTube channel. The video podcast is also on there. Make sure you check out Fire and Water Cooking on Facebook, Instagram, and make sure you check out the Fire and Water Cookbook on Amazon or on my website at fireandwatercooking.com. See you on the next podcast.